English translation, 407th contact. Thursday, 1st December 2005, 23:56 hours.
Ptaah. I was not expecting you today, but only on Saturday or Sunday. Just a moment ago, I could direct Ava to the apartment when you called. And there you are. That was quick. She just closed the office door. But, dear friend, you are warmly welcome as always. And of course my greeting is also part of it.
Edward, as always, it is a pleasure to see you. Be greeted, and thanks for your warm welcome. It is convenient for me to come today to make some corrections with you for about an hour and 15 minutes, if it is acceptable to you.
If I can raise a question first?
Of course. What is it about?
Today Silvano drew my attention to the fact that on Swiss television, SRG1, at 20 hours to 21 hours, a program was being broadcast, which was about clairvoyance. I watched this program, of course. It was about a woman in her 30s named AC, who is supposed to be clairvoyant and to see dead humans, aliens, the aura of humans, etc. She is also in the habit of giving advice and treatment to other humans, and she also works in a hospital under the patronage of a doctor. But as I see it, the woman suffers from a meditative form of schizophrenia, as you once described this disease to me. I cannot remember the correct name you gave to this form of schizophrenia.
I can give you the name. That is no problem, as well as what is behind the whole thing you watched on TV. Since I, as a medical doctor and psychiatrist, also deal with the things you mentioned, and since I try to get hold of everything that arises in this field on Earth, I have not been unaware of Mrs. AC and her actions for years. But there are a large number of forms of this kind of illness, and that is what it is among the humans on Earth. And I have to say that your observation and judgment is correct with regard to the fact that the woman suffers from a very rare form of a persistently acute form of schizophrenia, which is unconsciously meditative delusional due to childhood-related desire circumstances. It is an acute and persistent paranoid hallucinatory schizophrenia, which, due to an unconscious and likewise acute, permanent, and thus persistent alpha-wave meditative state, causes delusional or paranoid and hallucinatory modes of experience and forms of experience, whereby only a very slight or no impairment of the formal world of thought appears, and the formation of feelings, the emotional world and the emotional responsiveness are fully preserved. This is a permanent condition which is extremely difficult to diagnose and therefore difficult to recognize even by our specialists, psychiatrists, and trained psychologists. This is especially true because a person afflicted by this consciousness-related disease appears to be completely normal and does not have any recognizable brain organic disease or abnormal behavior, speech, conduct or movement, etc. As a rule, this form of consciousness disease also brings with it the fact that those afflicted with it have an excessive fine feelingness or sensitivity, whereby they are able to absorb and define all kinds of impulses with regard to thoughts, feelings, and pain of their fellow humans, which is also true for this woman. On Earth, the psychological and psychiatric specialists are still completely ignorant of this clinical picture, which is why they classify people suffering from this kind of illness as completely normal and even admit that they are clairvoyant and psychic, etc., which is not the case. It is not uncommon for humans who have fallen prey to the disease of paranoid hallucinatory schizophrenia in the form of alpha-wave meditation to have extraordinary psychological abilities, through which they can stimulate suffering fellow humans to unconscious self-healing by suggestive influence. Often fantastic as well as realistic images of the schizophrenia sufferers come into play, which they suggest to the sick and suffering people, who then accept them, take them for granted, and work with them, whereby self-suggestion generates self-healing. The process is similar to the one that is practiced and applied by the so-called spiritual healers. In the condition of the woman you mentioned, the origin of her illness can be traced back to her childhood, namely to the fact that she felt extremely alone in childhood and intensely wished to have company around her. In the course of time, this desire became a mania, from which the aforementioned form of paranoid hallucinatory schizophrenia soon developed into the alpha wave meditative form, which already broke out in puberty. The disease developed in such a manner that she perceived delusions in the form of apparent auras around people, as well as energy points and energy fields on and in their bodies. It also resulted in her visioning to see the supposedly deceased and communicating with them, as well as with imaginary other beings, which has been preserved until today. Eventually, the disease spread to the point where she became delusional in believing that she could communicate with objects, animals, fruits, and vegetables, etc., and that these would give her valuable answers, etc., which is due to the fact that in her schizophrenic state, she also has voice hallucinations. Her illness is therefore based on acoustic and optical hallucinations, in addition to other things. The whole thing has become more and more intense in her over the years and has developed to such an extent up to the present day that there is practically no possibility of a cure.
Aha, so that's the way the rabbit runs. I thought so. But regarding alpha waves, I have written the following in my book, Meditation from a Clear Point of View, which I have been working on for a long time and am always prevented from finally finishing it, if I may read it to you.
Meditation from a clear point of view.
Alpha waves are in the range of 8 to 12 Hz and are essential for a pleasant state of relaxation, which is mainly based on balance, inner quiet, well-being, self-satisfaction, inner freedom, inner peace, joy, life affirmation, joy of being, and inner harmony. Alpha waves are distinctive, though every positive form of meditation, as well as by distinctly good thoughts and feelings, and by a generally positive action and behavior. When general relaxation sets in through meditation, the so-called alpha waves dominate, which mainly work in the frontal and central areas of the brain, causing a phase alignment and a harmonious interaction of the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Meditation is a well-tried remedy against stress. Therefore, it is very beneficial for both physical and mental health, as well as for hormonal balance. It is a fact that meditation also influences the heart rate and stabilizes it, reducing the number of heartbeats as well as the level of blood lipids. A reduction also occurs in oxygen consumption and breathing rate. The oxygen consumption can normally be reduced by 20 to 25%, while even higher values can be achieved with deepest meditation. The need for food and fluids can also be reduced in a meditatively controlled manner, but also the possibility of creating greater endurance, a strong will and stamina in relation to many things can be given with appropriate meditation. Besides many other manner of applying great endurance, strong will and stamina created through meditation, this can also be very useful in terms of weight loss in overweight people. In particular, endurance, will and stamina play a very important role in this respect, namely in the correct composition of the daily diet, reducing it to a reasonable level, and then keeping to this level under all circumstances, and this throughout life, if the circumstances of constant weight gain require it. Similarly, persistence, strong will and perseverance are needed to achieve liberation from all kinds of addictions, such as drugs, medicines, alcohol, vices and smoking, evil passions, degenerations, quarrelsomeness, jealousy, hatred, insensitivity, domination, lust for power, revenge and bad habits, etc. With regard to blood pressure, during meditation it is at a regulated level and thus at a normal level, while the lactic acid level in the blood drops. High concentrations of lactic acid are formed during physical exertion, but also without it, when states of anxiety, etc. occur. Overall, meditation not only improves the general state of consciousness, thoughts, feelings, and psychic state, but also comprehensively improves the health of the whole body. A strengthening of the immune system is also brought about by a useful meditative activity, as well as the nervous system is positively influenced and strengthened. If the human immune and nervous system is healthy, strong, and intact, physical and mental attacks against health can do much less harm than when the systems are weakened. If meditation is practiced or carried out in the right framework, the meditating person develops a better perception of the processes of consciousness, psychic and physical processes, so that everything in these areas is perceived much more clearly and differentiated. Thus, harmful factors can be recognized and remedied early on, or at least effectively counteracted, whether it is an illness, grief, an emotion, or anything else that can have negative or evil effects. This increased and improved ability to perceive also helps to recognize one's own physical individuality and to grasp it in detail, whereby it can be regulated and brought to appreciation. This ensures that harmful ideals, vices and bad habits, etc. can be discarded, which only lead to having bad thoughts, feelings and emotions, which lead to wrong or badly out of control actions, or which are a provocation for moral lows or physical illnesses, etc.
This is all very well explained. Yes. AC creates an alpha wave state within herself, usually unconsciously, which is why she does not, as well as those who work with her and test her, find the solution to the riddle and believe that she possesses psychic abilities.
Regrettable, but I'm afraid there is nothing to be changed.
That is the case, yes. Neither the woman nor those who work with her will be told the truth. But let us now move on to the correction work because I have to return to my duties in an hour.
Tamam, as the Shell ad says, let us get on with it.
Tamam, what does it mean?
Oh, I am sorry. It just slipped out. It means good in Turkish. Sometimes words in foreign languages slip out of my mouth, like Turkish, Urdu, Arabic, Greek, or English, even though I only know them word for word. At the moment, Turkish words keep coming up because once a week I go shopping at the Turkish Mehmet and his wife Tule in Vetsikon, and therefore I hear Turkish more often. Incidentally, the two call me Muhammad, freely after I confided to them that I used to be called Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah in Arabia and other Muslim countries.
Therefore, I understand. But now to work, because the time is running. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. We will be doing our proofreading with Bernadette as usual in the coming Saturdays through the 7th of January 2006. I will visit you on the 5th of January to spend an hour in chess with you and give you new predictions.